taking us all the way to New Zealand, land of, well, breathtaking landscapes for one, and like 30 million sheep, the fluffy kind. And believe it or not, those sheep are, well, they're at the very heart of the Allbirds story. Have you ever really sat down and thought about where your shoes come from? I mean beyond just the store, Allbirds. They want you to think about it. They've built this whole brand. Their whole thing is around sustainable shoes, using stuff like merino wool, there's the sheep again, eucalyptus fiber, and even, get this, sugarcane.
And what's really interesting is that they're not just some small startup anymore. They're publicly traded now. That's not something you see every day, especially in the sustainable product space. It says a lot about how they're figuring out how to make eco-conscious choices and, still be profitable.
Yeah, no, totally. It makes you wonder what they're doing that everyone else isn't. And honestly, I think a lot of it comes down to the people. We've got Tim Brown, a former soccer pro. Now he's teaming up with Joey Zwillinger, who's a biotech engineer. Talk about an unlikely duo, right?
That's what makes Allbirds so Allbirds when you think about it. So Brown, he knew firsthand how much uncomfortable shoes, well, they just plain stink. Saw a real opportunity to use his country's claim to fame, that merino wool, in a whole new way. But it's Willinger's expertise that's letting them go beyond just swapping one material for another. You know what I mean? They're really trying to reinvent how shoes were even made.
Okay, I'm with you so far, but let's dig into that a little more. So they're using these natural materials, but how does that actually play out? What is it about their whole approach that's so different?
So they're all about sustainable innovation. Okay, but what does that really mean? What's the secret ingredient? Are we talking magic sheep's wool or something?
It's more like science and comfort. Take their SweetFoam, for example.
Right.
That's what they use for their shoe soles. And get this, it's made from sugarcane.
Sugarcane? You mean the stuff we use to make, well, sugar?
You got it. The thing is, most shoe soles, they're petroleum-based,
Right.
which, terrible for the environment. But Allbirds, they found this way to actually use sugarcane, and they're using it to create this, really durable and comfy shoe sole.
And here's the really cool part, the whole way they produce it. It actually gives SweetFoam a negative carbon footprint.
Hold on. Negative. How is it even possible to have a footprint that's less than 0?
So it's not just about swapping in some renewable material, right? They figured out how to make the actual production process, the process itself, it actually absorbs more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than it releases.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's kind of like they're planting a tree, but for your feet.
That's one way to put it. But, okay, sustainable materials are one thing.
Yeah.
Allbirds seems to be going even further than that, though, right? They're super open about their whole process, even when it comes to their carbon footprint.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah. They call it radical transparency. And honestly, it's a pretty bold move for a company to make. Every Allbirds product, every single one, is labeled with its carbon footprint. They're literally telling you how much CO2 was released during the shoe's entire life. From the materials to manufacturing to shipping, the whole 9 yards.
I mean, that's kind of a gamble, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems like most companies wouldn't want to put that kind of information, front and center. You'd think it would scare some customers away.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But it's actually a really savvy move on their part, and for a few reasons. First off, it shows they're not trying to hide anything. They're owning your impact, and it shows they're serious about reducing it.
Yeah.
Second, it really seemed to resonate with consumers like yourself who are more aware these days, more and more, about the environmental impact of the things they're buying and how those things are made.
So it's like they're saying, hey, we're not perfect, but we're trying to be better, and we're not afraid to show you that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, honestly, that's kind of refreshing.
Totally. Because transparency like that.
Yeah, builds trust.
And that trust can be huge for a brand, especially when you're talking about sustainability. Because let's be real, a lot of people are wary of greenwashing these days.
Totally.
But we can't forget, Allbirds is still a business at the end of the day. Yeah. So how did they go from this good idea to, basically a global phenomenon? How do you get everyone talking about sustainable shoes?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you make sustainable choices, Actually cool, because let's be real, it wasn't that long ago that eco-friendly anything, it wasn't exactly flying off the shelves, you know what I mean?
No, you're right. They've definitely found a way to make it trendy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They've tapped into this desire that people have to buy things that are, good for them.
Yeah.
And good for the planet.
Okay, so how'd they do it? What are the marketing secrets?
Well, I think, for one thing, they're really good storytellers. They don't just, hit you over the head with, buy our shoes, you know?
Yeah.
They've actually created this whole story, this whole narrative around their brand. They're talking about the process, their whole commitment to sustainability, and they don't shy away from like actually educating people about why it matters.
So it's less about selling shoes and more about selling people on a belief system.
Exactly. And they've really used that, that platform they have to become thought leaders, especially in the sustainable fashion world.
Right.
It's not just about buying the shoes at this point. People are buying into the Allbirds mission, the whole thing.
And I'm guessing those celebrity endorsements haven't hurt either, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're smart about it, though, It's not just about getting any big name to wear their stuff. They've partnered up with people who are, like, genuinely passionate about the environment, like Leonardo DiCaprio, for example.
Yeah, seeing Leo rocking a pair of Allbirds definitely gives their message some weight. I'll say that much.
For sure. It's not just an endorsement. It's like, they share the same values, and people see that. Ooh. And we can't forget about their actual stores, the physical stores. Have you ever been to one?
I haven't actually, no.
You should check one out. They're less like stores in a way, more like mini museums, but all dedicated to sustainability.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You can actually touch the materials and see how the shoes are made.
Right.
Learn all about where they source the materials from, the whole thing. They even encourage you to try on a bunch of different styles, really find the perfect fit for you.
Huh. So they've really put a lot of thought into that whole customer experience, haven't they? From the very first time you hear about Allbirds to the moment you walk out of their store with a brand new pair of shoes on your feet.
Exactly. They've created this really immersive, really engaging experience. And it really makes sustainability, it makes it feel real. It makes it feel tangible, even exciting,
Yeah, for sure.
But, no brand is perfect, right? And Allbirds, they've had their share of stumbles along the way.
Yeah.
Especially when they tried to break into that whole performance footwear market.
Yeah, it seemed like that was a bit of a misstep for them, if we're being honest, trying to go head-to-head with those big athletic shoe companies. It seemed to take them a little too far away from, that core message that they had, the thing that made them unique in the first place.
Yeah, it just goes to show, I guess, even with the best intentions, you can still stumble a bit. It's so important to, stay true to who you are as a brand.
Right.
Especially in a market that's as competitive as that one.
Totally. Makes you think about their tagline, better things in a better way. It's aspirational, but it's also kind of refreshing, because it acknowledges that, nobody's perfect. And that this whole journey towards sustainability, it's a process. It's ongoing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really powerful message for consumers to hear.
For sure.
Allbirds wants to make a difference. They're being upfront about the progress they're making. And just as importantly, they're being honest about the challenges they face along the way.
Right.
At the end of the day, they're proving that you can care about the planet. You don't have to sacrifice style. You don't have to sacrifice comfort.
I like it. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Allbirds, I think the question for all of us is, what does better actually mean to you? What are the values that are most important to you when you're deciding what to spend your money on, whether it's a new pair of shoes or, honestly, anything else? Keep that in mind next time you're about to click add to cart, right? Until next time, thanks for diving in with us.